Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's PDF44, back with another video. Got another day off. Been on my political slash free talking stuff for the last couple days, but I figured I'd throw some sports in there just to stay true to who I am. So here it is. I want to talk about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers. First of all, the Clippers just released their new uniforms. Pretty cool. I don't have a problem with it. It's like a San Andreas slash old school font on the front of it. I actually don't hate the jerseys. I think they're a bit plain for me in terms of the white and black, but I do understand that they have red on the collars and blue on the other collar, not collar, sleeve area. So that's kind of cool. Speaks to the LA gang culture, to be honest with you. Super low key. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but they put it on a certain side that represents the sides that the gangs wear their flags on. So I thought that was really unique, and they were created by Mr. Cartoon, a very famous tattoo artist out here. So that's definitely full-fledged LA all day. So for that, I can say I respect the uniforms, and that's about as far as my respect goes for the Clippers. As you all know, I'm not a Clipper guy. In fact, I have a strong distaste for the Clippers as a whole. But the uniforms are pretty solid. But I want to talk about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in this regard. I just, it's getting to a point where people outside of Los Angeles are wondering, how LA is feeling about the Clippers and how we're taking to the new look team. And I think that I've already spoken about this, but I just want to kind of give you an updated idea of how I'm viewing this. For me, and I say this respectfully, of course, it's not personal, but as a sports fan, I'm gonna speak with the vitriol that I have in my heart about the Clippers and about how this thing was handled, because I'm a Laker fan and I took it personally as a sports fan, not as a human being, but as a sports fan. I just felt like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they wanted the Lakers, both of them did, wanted the Lakers to want them more than we actually did, and that's what it really comes down to for me. I think though individually, they both wanted the Lakers to trade players like Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, what have you, for them. And they didn't appreciate the fact that we didn't. That's what I took it. Paul George made it very clear that he didn't appreciate the fact that we didn't make the trade for him. But in order to trade for him, we would have had to give away Brandon Ingram. Probably would have had to give away other things to get him. And he just wasn't worth that to us. I'm just call it like it is. He wasn't worth that to us. Why? Because we wouldn't have been in a position to trade for Anthony Davis, who I'd rather have over him. Period. Every day of the week, all day of the week. I don't think anybody's confused about who is the more valuable player in this league, even though Paul George is coming off a really, really, really fantastic year. There's no confusion about who you'd rather have. Let's not act like there is. It's Anthony Davis every time. Okay? Let's just be honest. And I think Kawhi Leonard kind of felt the same way. When we had an opportunity 2 summers ago to trade for him, we would have had to give up Brandon Ingram and give up other players for him. And though Kawhi Leonard, I think, for me, I would rather have Kawhi Leonard than Paul George. And it's a little closer in between him and PG. Him and AD, because I have a lot of respect for Kawhi's game and what he's accomplished. Let's be honest with this. At the time, he hadn't gone to Toronto yet, obviously. He hadn't been traded from San Antonio. He was coming off an injury that we didn't even know how he was going to come back. Looking at us. We didn't know what kind of health he was going to have when he came back. We didn't know what type of play he was going to give us. We didn't know how healthy he would be. You just didn't know what kind of player he was going to be when he came back. He hadn't played basketball in a year, and we're supposed to trade away young players for him? Didn't make sense at the time. He hadn't proven what he just proved in Toronto. So that was not a reasonable option for the Lakers. So for me, the way that they handled the summer was kind of petty. Well, Kawhi Leonard particularly was really petty. But PG too, just the way that they went about this whole situation, it's like they wanted to stick it to the Lakers for not trading for them, when we know damn well that we did the right thing in not trading for them. Those were potentially bad trades from the standpoint that we were at that time. And to this very second, when you look back at what we traded away, assuming that Anthony Davis does re-sign with the Lakers, which is a very big deal at the end of this season, but it seems like that it's looking more and more likely as this thing starts to start up. There was no way in hell I would have been happy with us giving away Brandon Ingram and other assets to acquire either one of those guys and then pairing them with LeBron James. I'd rather have Anthony Davis than either one of them overall. So they can throw their little hissy fit, run around and, try to claim the city or what have you, or feel real good about themselves because they've come together. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Lakers made any mistakes there. I wouldn't have done anything differently in this regard, in regards to trading for either one of them, giving away Brandon Ingram for either one of them, because we wouldn't have been able to get Anthony Davis for Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball and all the picks and all that good stuff. Those assets wouldn't be available to us. We would just have LeBron James and one of those two players. They ain't gonna cut it. It would not have cut it. It wouldn't have got us a championship. Now, had we have known they would have come to the Clippers, maybe we would have did something to try to keep that from happening. But as far as their gripe with the Lakers, or their anger at the Lakers, the chip on the shoulder they have toward the Lakers organization, let them feel what they feel. You know, as a Laker fan, I don't have any problem with how things played out thus far. The only way I'll have a problem with how things played out is if Anthony Davis doesn't resign. And in that case, I would still want the kids. Not either one of them. Honestly, not either one of them. You got to be honest with yourselves, Clipper fans, Laker fans, everybody. Even though we do have an older LeBron James, and Anthony Davis has had his injury issues, which they want to really bring up now that he's a Laker, Paul George ain't even starting the season healthy. On a 2-year contract himself, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, he signed a 4, so you guys are going to have him, but Kawhi's on a 2-year deal. And I think one of those years has already been played. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, PG has 3 years on his deal at this point. But like, that's not something that makes me want to give away a bunch of assets to obtain. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that's gonna make me sit here and say, oh boy, we gotta watch out because the karma's gonna bite us for not doing this. They wanted to make a case, or they want to make a case that the Lakers would have wronged them for not taking them on when they decided to leave the franchises that they were on to come to the Lakers. No, I'm not mad at our front office for not making those deals, and I'm not gonna give them a pass in that regard and saying, oh well, the Lakers should have traded for them, like I've heard some analysts say. Nah, we shouldn't have traded for those guys. We did the right thing. We kept our assets until a really good deal came along, and we made a decision on a really good deal. Now, really good is I have to put an asterisk next to really good, because I really did not like the AD trade. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I would have rather seen us pair him with the players that we traded away. But now everything has fallen in places to where the Lakers have put such a fantastic core of players around AD, to where I never would have dreamed it would have turned out as well as it has to start the season in terms of the roster that we have. That was my biggest gripe. I didn't think that we could keep AD happy with LeBron James. I didn't think we would be able to put together such a fantastic roster for his year here. You know, if it only turns out to be 1 year, he has a legitimate chance of winning a championship with this team, and it's not just because of LeBron James. So, with that being said, I just want to say, yo, Clipper fans, enjoy what you have. You're still Clippers to me. You already, if you watch any of my old videos, you know exactly how I feel about your squad. But the whole chip on the shoulder thing, the whole we gotta get back at the Lakers for not trading for us, and we're gonna show them because they made a mistake. No, we didn't make no mistake. There was no mistake made. They did exactly what they were supposed to do in regards to keeping their assets until something they really wanted came along. And just because those guys are from LA and they really are really talented players does not mean that we get to ignore the injury issues that they've had. And, Paul George, I say with all due respect, that leg injury really changed my view on him, even though he's come back obviously 170% from that. I still am not of the mindset that you pay him a whole lot of money, because I've seen his leg in half. Like, in half, fam. Okay? That's not nothing to play with. And I know he healed from that. But for me, there's no way in hell I'm taking on a player like that at a max contract. It's not happening. After you have an injury like that, I'm done. I, personally, am done. So I'm not mad at that. And then I'll never forget how Joe Ingles just really held his own against PG in the playoffs with the Utah series 2 years back. And that's putting it very, very mildly and very respectfully. He won the matchup between those two players. And that's not okay. And if you're Paul George and the caliber of Paul George, that can't happen. Ever. That can never take place. And it did. So, And then Kawhi again. Kawhi's coming off a long season after an injury that kept him out, and it had a lot of question marks around the injury. Very, very documented how questionable the situation was, and a lot of it seemed to me to be psychological in Kawhi, in regards to Kawhi. Some of it didn't seem like it really made sense. Skip Bayless has got on the record saying that he thought the man quit on his team and he just tried to force his way out. I don't know what the truth is, but the point is those questions are surrounding that situation, and those questions are not surrounding Anthony Davis or LeBron James. We don't have any of that going on there with those two players. So I am comfortable with the Lakers having not traded for either one of those players when we had an opportunity to do so. That's basically what I came up here to say. And I don't have any sympathy for them in regards to them having this chip on their shoulder against my franchise. And I say my meaningfully because I take things personally as a Laker fan. So, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You guys are still Clippers. And I'll tell you this. Clippers have had a contending team before. We've seen it. We've seen that. I'd say about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but the year that Donald Sterling went on his racist tirade, that year the Clippers were favored to come out of the West, in my opinion. I didn't think there was a team in the league deeper than them, and I don't think this Clipper team is deeper than that Clipper team was. I really don't. They're not, as a matter of fact. Now, do they have... They're more top-heavy, of course, with those two players they are, but that team was one of the most deep teams in recent memory, and probably should have gone deep in the playoffs had it not been for that massive distraction. So I said that to say we've seen the Clippers very good before. It all went to crap. Why? Because the Clippers have a mantra, and that mantra is we lose. No matter who's wearing the uniform, just like the Cleveland Browns. I don't care who you put in the Cleveland Brown uniform. You can surround them with superstar players. It's still the Browns. You can surround the Clippers with the superstar players. It's still the Clippers. And that will be proven this season. You guys will see. There will be no trophy held up in Staples Center in regards to the Clippers. They're not going to hold one. And if I'm wrong, I'll come back and say I was wrong. But I definitely do not see it. There will be no Boston Red Sox grandioso comeback. No. There's none of that. They will not win. Sorry. They're still Clippers. Clippers will be Clippers until Clippers are no longer Clippers. And that's why I think they need to change their name when they leave to go to Inglewood. That needs to happen. Change the name, change the narrative. But as long as you guys are still here in LA holding on to that Clipper name, you can have Clipper results. Believe it, because it's true. Anyway, that's all I got. Lakers for life, BDF 44. Thanks for watching. Peace.